Okay, so welcome back to part 2 of the tutorial video taking you through the mock paper for the CIDR exam. So far we have created a template page and I have saved that template page 5 times with 5 different names, so I have the different pages to navigate through. So now I'm going to continue working through the instruction booklet and see what comes next. So the next thing that I'm asked to do is to look at the file formats. It says that all images should be in PNG file format and each individual image must be less than 250 kilobytes. So I'm going to show you a really simple and quick way of doing this. This is the kind of thing that I would tend to leave to the end when you have time to do it, because it is worth minimal marks. It's usually worth 1 mark for all images. Not a mark to be thrown away, obviously, but where more marks can be picked up for content, I wouldn't waste too much time on this if you are running out of time. But just to show you how to do it, if I open up my file area here, and I was to be in my images folder, I can see that not all of my images are in PNG format. This how to find as image is a bitmap image, and it's also 720 kilobytes. So in order to edit this, I'm going to open it in an image editing software. I actually don't have Photoshop on this computer, so I'm going to be using iPhoto. You can use Photoshop, you can use just about any image editing software that you like. The most professional one is Photoshop. So if I open this with, and just pop into my iPhoto options, there we go, this is the one I'm going to open. Nope, this is not opened the right file, just a moment, let me do that again. Open with iPhoto, and I do want to import it. There we go, wonderful. So this file here I'm now going to resave, and I'm going to save it with a PNG file format, and I'm going to reduce the file size as well. So I just go up to the file option and select export. And with the file export, I want to change the file type from exporting from JPEG. I don't want the current file format because the current file format was bitmap, if you remember. I'm going to change it to a PNG image, and the file size I'm going to change from full size to small. I can create a custom size if I wish, but small is usually enough to reduce it beyond 250 kilobytes. I'm going to use the same file name and I'm going to press export. It then asks me where I want it to be saved. So yeah, this is going to go into the assets folder. Press OK, and now that's exported. So here in the assets folder, I now found that I have a how to find us, which is a PNG, and it is only 61 kilobytes as opposed to the 720 kilobytes, which was the original file. So I'll just drag that into images so you can see them next to each other. Okay. So these are the features that I'm going to use in order to carry on. The next instruction is asking me to edit the brochure, okay? And the brochure, saved in the assets folder, I'm going to crop the brochure to show only the front cover, and then I'm going to set that up as a rollover image that rolls over to one of the other pages of the brochure. The rollover image should be exactly the same size as the front cover image. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so I've already opened and cropped this version here, so I have my front cover from this version. So I'll go through and do the same thing again to pick out a different page. These are both PNG format, and the one that I have cropped I exported as a small file size, so that's only 83 kilobytes, so it's less than the maximum file size. So I'm just going to open this one again. In order to crop the second page. Yep, that's the one I want. Import. Okay, and I'm going to edit it. And with the edit option open, I'm going to select the crop tool. And with the crop tool, I'm just simply going to drag in to one of these pages. I'll have that one, the nice blue bright background. Okay. Round about there. And when I'm happy with it, I'm going to press done. Yeah, I've cut off a little bit of the text down there, so I might go back. I can always press revert to the original and go back and do it again, just to make sure that I don't cut any of the actual text off. It is important because it is considered a distortion, and you could lose marks for that. You don't want to lose silly marks. So let's try that again. That's a bit better. I've got a white bar at the top now, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. That's fine. Okay, excellent. So now I need to ensure that I save this version. So I'm just going to file and export this one, and I'm going to make sure that it's a PNG and the file size is small, and yeah, I can use the file name, that shouldn't be a problem. It may have an issue because there's already another file name with the same name, so if that's the problem, then we won't worry too much about it just yet. I'm going to export this to the assets. I'm going to change it to Brochure 2 at this point and press just OK. Alright, so now I should be able to see, there it is, my Brochure 2 in my images over here. I should also be able to go into the file, and where it says Reveal in Finder, I should be able to open the file from there as well. So the original file, the one prior to it being changed, or the modified file, I need to select the image first. So there it is. So the modified file is saved there. Okay, so I just double check that I've got the right one. I'll drag that out. Close this. Close this. Back into my images. And there we go. I'm just going to drop that in there. Cancel. Stop. I'm just going to rename this to Brochure 2. So here I've got the original brochure, which I can see has 4 images, Brochure 1, which is the cropped image, and Brochure 2, which is the second cropped image, both of which are less than 250 kilobytes and in PNG format. Okay, so back into Dreamweaver, and I'm on my activities page, and in my content area here, this is where I'm going to add this rollover button. So I'm going to insert a HTML feature it is, and my HTML feature is a rollover. So I'm just looking for rollover in my list. There it is, rollover image. Okay, so I can name the image if I wish. Rollover brochure, no spaces. Select the original image. So I want brochure 1 as my original image. And I'm looking for brochure 2. I can't see brochure 2. Do I need to refresh my page maybe? Yeah, there they are, both of them. Let's do that again. Insert HTML, rollover image. Okay, I'm going to add the alternate text for my visually impaired users. Okay, so I've added my alt text to explain what it is, and then I'm going to press OK, and there we go. I now have a image in here, which is rollover feature, and I can test that it all works by saving this file and popping into Google Chrome and scrolling over the top, and both images are exactly the same size, and they change as I put my mouse over them. So not bad in total. What it has done is it's extended the size of my buttons. So what I may do is I may put another row just at the bottom here, so that that's the row that gets bigger in order to constrain the size of these. But I'm not too worried about them at the moment. I actually quite like the size of those buttons as they are. But I do still need to centerize and maybe change the effects of the text like we spoke about in the first tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to close this now and go back to my instruction booklet. Okay, so I've achieved the brochure section. Next one, we are asked to do, using your HTML and CSS coding skills, create a box on the About Us page. It should have a height of 400 pixels and a width of 300 pixels and have a background colour of #FF6633. It should contain information about the school trips to Escapade. It should contain the school trips PNG, which should be positioned on the right of the text, and the text should wrap around the image. The information on school trips can be found in the info.rtf file. The school trips PNG can be found in the images folder. Excellent. Right, let's get started then. So we need to go to the About Us page and create a box that's 400 height by 300 width. Now I know a lot of you have told me, but this is a ridiculous shaped box, the box doesn't make any sense, why would you have a box that was that size, etc, etc, etc. Well, at the end of the day, you just need to go through the process of creating what is what you've been asked to create. Okay, so I'm going to insert a table, and my table is going to have one row and one column, and it is going to be 300 pixels wide. There we go, it's 300 pixels wide. So I still need to add a height, so it should be 300 wide and 400 high. So if I pop back in here, with my table selected, I'm going to edit the table in the code. So I've got the table open here, and the width is set to 300, or the height equals, open speech marks, 400. Close speech marks. There we go, excellent. So I've now got a box that I can work with, and again the colour of this box is also instructed in my code, which is just here. So I'm going to click and highlight this colour code, copy that, because inside my cell, excellent, I'm going to have the background colour. So notice it goes inside that column, there's the background colour, and there we go, there's my box. So my box is now organised. I'm just going to make sure that I'm looking at, say for example, my properties in order to do any of the editing type stuff that I might want to do for the content of this particular box. So the box has a centre align text now, and we're going to add the text from the info.rtf file. So we want to have some information about the school trips to Escapade. So we're going to open this up and find my info.rtf, which is just there. And we've got some information about the different school trips. So this is pretty much all of the information that I require. School trips, an exciting outdoor adventure for primary school, secondary school aged children. I don't need all of it, because obviously I need to want to leave some information to go on the various pages that I have. And it does say clearly in the instruction booklet that it's going to contain information about the school trips to Escapade. So I don't need everything else. Do remember to wash your text before bringing it in, otherwise you might bring some formatting problems that can cause you issues later on. So what I do want to do is make this plain text, yes, in order to wash any of the formatting away from it. Then I'm going to copy the school trips there, back into Dreamweaver, and I'm going to paste that here. Okay, so now I've got my school trips information in. The next instruction that it told me is that I want to include the school trips PNG image, which should be positioned on the right of the text, and the text should wrap around the image. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to find the school trips PNG image, which is just there, and I'm going to place it in my box. There it is. And now I'm going to align this image to the right, was it, on my instruction? Position to the right of the text, and the text should wrap around the image. So I just need to align the image to the right, and the text will wrap around automatically. So I select my image inside the code down here. I'm going to add the tag for a right align. I'm also going to add my alt text to this image. Don't forget your alt text. You need to have this for the visually impaired users for all images. So I'll add this as I go. Image of school trips. And then just outside of that tag, before the close, I'm going to add the align equals open speech marks right. Okay, and for some reason this has not snapped to. Wonderful. There we go. So what I needed to do, and the reason that it wasn't working there, is that I needed to put my image before the text in the column instruction. So my image now here with the align right, and then the text coming after it. So that will ensure that it works. So just make sure that in your code, your image comes first in the column before your text with the alignment, and then this works perfectly. So we'll finish that as this part, and when we come back for part 3, we will make sure that our buttons are organised on each page rather than stretching out because of my content area here, and we'll go on to the next section of the instructions as well.